Noah, coming from back on the Polish side of the border. It has been nothing short of extraordinary. We're going to do an entire debriefing tomorrow night. We're going to hit lever 6 contribution in ways and at depth beyond anything we've ever done before. Coming up tomorrow night. Rob Gill, brother, what is present on your heart as we left Kiev, traveled back overnight on the train to Lviv, crossed the border this morning into Poland, and what is on your heart, my friend?
Really a nervous system shift, being able to step into a place of really understanding the bigger picture and what's really important in the game of life, business, family. And I know when I go back, and I'm saying to the Epic world, there will be some deep conversations about internal hair pulling and what we're going to do going forward on how to not only triple, quadruple down on all the beautiful things, but also support each other in holding each other accountable as we close leakage. And on our side of the street, there's going to be some fake confusion wipeaways, because at the end of the day, what stood out the most in Kyiv yesterday was that, five missiles went off the day we happened to be there. And then once the folks of Kyiv realized that they were okay, they then, pulled their cameras out and were just watching the smoke. And it made me think, if I was going to take my son to a Yankee game or my daughter to a soccer game, that I guess once we knew the bomb went off that day and we were safe, we could go to the game. And that's how they're living right now. They're living in a space of acceptance and overcoming just horrible things. And they don't even know what's going to happen in the next 30, 60, 90 days. But they were going to pizza for lunch, and they were walking around with their families, and they were jogging, and they were doing the other things that people do every day. So, yeah, as 5 missiles hit. So a complete shift, nervous system shift, didn't expect it. And, when Kris had asked me to go on this mission, I was already looking for something more. No different when I first saw Sean speak. In this iteration, I was looking for something more when it came to charity work and making a difference because of my recent experience over the last 6 months. And God is good. He's good all the time with the lumps and the bumps. And Kris asked me, and the answer was yes. And there was no fake confusion. There was just, let me make sure legally the insurance companies would cover us. And it was a yes.
What do you mean by it?
Yeah, so, we have a bunch of life insurance policies, and we have families and business partners that depend on us. And I wanted to make sure that, God forbid, if we somehow got hit with one of those missiles and shuffled off this mortal coil, that our loved ones would get the proceeds from the insurance company. And we found out it wasn't a war, it was an occupation. And in the language of an occupation, they can't say we're not going to pay for it because of the war clause. So then we dug deeper to look into the war clause, and the carriers that we have our policies with don't have a war clause. So it made me feel really good to know that my family would be taken care of. And even going into it, everyone who knows me close knows how kind of silly I am from time to time. I did a 45-minute video to my attorney, the attorney that handles our business on the Epic side, laying out to my wife who I think she should trust, shouldn't trust, what everyone should do to maintain the business and keep going forward, because I really feel what was built with my ecosystem merger with Sean and Kris is exceptional. And I don't want anyone from Epic, God forbid if I did not come back, to not be able to keep going with what was built. So, and for my wife, which people I wanted her to talk to about how to handle the money, and all these different little things. And, that's where my heart was at. Last night they had an intervention with me. And, the intervention, 3 a.m. on a train that there was 4 grown men on, it fit maybe 2, going through the Ukraine about what I need to work on personally first, business second. That's what also happened on the trip after all the humanitarian stuff, not before. So that's what's present to me right now. Yep.
I love you and everyone. I know this has been a lot talking about this trip and excursion and could feel like a distraction at some level, but it's just another example of the formula and everything we talk about consistently. So what this has to do with you is, first, how we can normalize anything. We watch people normalizing anything. So the normalization of you confronting yourself in terms of running your platform. You confronting yourself in terms of number of speaking engagements. You confronting yourself lovingly and fun and magic about what things, what sales, what accelerations, what marketing dynamics, what are present. You confronting yourself in the managing, leading, recruiting, fundraising, for profit, not for profit, all of it at each level and each way. That's what this had to do with. And I'm telling you this, for me, I've done a lot of crazy stuff. And we did a lot of crazy stuff together in Grand Cayman. And it, believe it or not, the moments in off of Macabuca in Grand Cayman, and when they call the Coast Guard, the moments at Rackham when we're all together out in the ocean, way, way out in the dark, those moments probably felt, for Rob, Gill, and for everybody else, more unsettling than what we were dealing with moment to moment, day to day. And what's the relevance of that? The relevance of that is we all make up stories. We, you, all of us, about what everything means and what everything is and isn't. And the stories that we're choosing to make up and our rise of mastery are vital for driving forward on money, time, and magic. And so, AG, I couldn't be more thankful for you, my partner, my brother, my friend, my co-founder, Adam Gugino. First of all, how are you feeling? And tell me what is on your heart about all this. Because I want to know the story in Adam's heart each day about what's going on. And you hear missiles landing, and then we're getting mango, which Nick Mariotta, awesome brother, love him. He's buying us mango and vanilla soft serve ice cream an hour after we're filming missiles. This is what's happening. There's not a context for it unless you experience it. So Adam, what were you thinking it was? What has been on your heart? What's up, brother? How you feeling?
Well, I'm feeling incredible. I want to first just say my number one emotion, hearing you and Rob share and knowing, you're on your way back from the journey or out of, where the missiles are landing. And I'm just grateful. And even just hearing you put things into context of what was happening in Grand Cayman, what you guys were experiencing, how it's been normalized. I mean, I'm a million things going on, but number one, grateful for you two to hear your voices. Number two, the weekend was a lot of the people are here, I'm sure, was coaching call after coaching call. Loved it. So, always talk about variety in human needs. If you ever want variety in your life, be a coach. And just really being able to utilize what you were doing, Sean, in conversations had over the weekend. And to your point, over and over again, you made it. If you can step into that type of fear, that type of uncertainty, how can you not, or what's stopping you from picking up the phone to achieve your dreams? And that just continuously reiterated in my mind over and over again. Not just for people that I was working with, but also myself, my own self-mastery, and just really ready to do all the things and get in the best shape of my life. Mr. Mike Izaki, who, I know is on that mission as well, had a great call yesterday, just talking about you, what you were doing. If you can go out and do all that, yeah, damn right. Get up a little bit earlier and work out a little bit harder and just do all the things that are necessary to be in the best physical, mental condition of our lives, because it's not going to get, the road isn't going to get any easier. And I mean that in a beautiful, loving way. The more we rise, the more arrows, the more challenges, the larger the magnitude of things happening. and you just demonstrated the highest level of leadership, confronting yourself, your own fear. And brother, I mean, I couldn't be prouder of you guys and more excited to have you back.
Thank you, AG. And Fernando Valencia, brother, what has been present for you as this journey has continued? How is this shaping your driving forward in the mission? Our lists of top people of influence in all the verticals, legal, financial, accounting, everything. Just what's on your heart, mind. And Steph, I'm coming to you. G Money, I'm coming to you. Tink, I'm coming to you. So let's give quick 30-seconders. So what's up?
Seeing all of you on the news, through the videos, being present to where you are versus where we are, and where my heart is with the mission. I think this sums it up. I was privileged to be taking a walk with my family on Saturday to Cake and Cone, which has Nutella ice cream, which is the best, by the way. And as I was getting to the corner, I looked to the left, and there was a sign that says Karlstad stands with Ukraine. And as I looked at that sign, I had like an image and a flash of where I was versus where you were. And I was looking at a sign, and I can't even imagine all the things you were looking at. And what hit my heart in that moment is just what we're really doing. And that was a sign, and you were there. And that's leaders leading leaders to merge ecosystems to make the world an even greater place. That was Kris Krohn, that was Rob, that was the rest of the team that was there. That's what was happening. So that's what's on my heart. And I'm just happy to hearing you be on the reverse trip back. That certainly brings me a lot of joy. And I can't wait to hear and debrief where your heart is with contribution tomorrow. So that's what I'm present to. And with that, back to you, sir.
Tomorrow night, we're gonna debrief the trip through the prism of a group influence training on the mastery session and tie it into contribution. So tomorrow night, the mastery session training is going to be debriefing on the trip through the prism of group influence and contribution. Steph, on your heart, what's cooking?
I am, super present to, the self mastery and the process mastery and everything about, this trip and we talk about in process mastery is modeling, and you've given so much access to model in this trip, from getting yourself to do the things that you don't feel like doing, to everything that we could be doing, how we could push ourselves and just a little bit more, and just the set of reality and what people are dealing with there versus what we're dealing with here. And there's just I have found for myself, it's given a new access of inspiration, motivation, a whole new level of why that has been absolutely extraordinary. And I echo Fernando. I am so happy you're on the other side of the border making your way back. It makes me super happy.
Thank you. Thank you for all of your incredible support. And Rob, Gill, and Kris Krohn, we're very happy that there was peanut butter and Swedish fish in the suitcase. We'll come back to that. And actually, you know what? Kris Krohn is right here, right now, and I feel his heart present. So here you go, brother.
Thank you, Sean. I feel impressed to just share the relevancy of what we experienced and what that's like for every one of us in our life. Imagine for a moment that you're using the formula for influence. Imagine that you're making your calls. Imagine that you're booking engagements. Imagine that you're doing your fulfillment gigs, and yet you're not powered by a deep enough why. For me, that's the equivalent of just wasting life, because I can so easily get stuck in going through motions and hoping for great outcomes, and yet always wondering, why doesn't it feel like I'm ever getting there? Why doesn't it feel like I'm getting to the outcome? Why doesn't it feel like I'm getting the growth? And for me personally, the very first place in my life I look when I have stagnation is the depth of my why. My experience of most people that I coach is that they're not connected enough to their why. And so being in Ukraine, for example, with Rob and John, all three of us had a convergence in where our whys met. None of us were thinking, someday I want to have enough time, freedom, and magic in my life so I can go to Ukraine when it's at war and we can, do good. Like that isn't none of us were thinking that certainly a month ago before the call came.
And Rob Gill, certainly when he was rolling at like 22 downtown Jersey City with like people getting shot at, he was definitely not thinking, I can't wait to make a ton of money and go to the Ukraine in the war. That was definitely not what he was thinking.
Yeah, but let me share with you what all wise share in common. They're selfless in nature. They deal in legacy. They have to do with your ultimate destiny. And for me, the saddest life lived is when someone's consciousness was capable of expanding into giving more and potently, but never arriving there because they could never achieve the desired outcomes in their business. They could never get to the time freedom. They could never get to the money freedom. And why at the end of the day? Well, then they get to go to literally the richest place on the planet, the graveyard, where dreams go to die, where inventions never get made, where songs never get written, sung. That's the problem that we have on this planet. And at the end of the day, it's because we are lacking massive why. So when you think about us being in Ukraine, what we were really ultimately unified by was a desire to give back and fill our life with the meaning from making sure that we could add great contribution to other people. And that's really why we're being as successful as we humanly possibly can. And so I'm just inviting you to just ask, are you